Okay, so I have started recording. The agenda of today's meeting is to discuss the Java collection framework, wherein we will see list, map, and set. We will also see how we iterate through a collection, a couple of APIs, and then following this, we will see how they are used in Selenium. Following this, we will see how page object is used in Selenium. Okay, so let's begin with this now. So, yeah, let's see the collection framework in Java. So in the collection framework in Java, we have two main interfaces called list and set. These interfaces have their specific implementation. With the list, we have something called array list and linked list. We are going to see array list here. With the set, we have hash set, which we are going to see today. Map is not part of Java collection framework, but we would see that as well. It is very useful in data-driven testing. And in the map, we will see the specific implementation of map interface called hash map. So let's begin with list. Okay, am I audible? Okay, great. So let's begin with list. But before that, let us understand why we want to use collection API or the list itself and not the just arrays. So the problem with the array is fixed in its size. It cannot grow on runtime, but with the list, we can add as many elements to it as needed. So it goes like this. Okay, so this is one of the sample Selenium project which we have been using from quite long time. Okay, Tulsi. Okay, so I'll create a package here. Say collection. Okay, and in this, hi Vasan, we have just begun with the session, so we are discussing the collection framework today. Yeah, so we created a package called collection. In this, we will create a class named say test collection. Okay, so let us see how we create a list. So I'll create a main method here. Okay, so we are going to declare a list here. How do we do that? We will say list. List is available in package java.util, so we'll take that. If you notice, there is some angular bracket here. We'll come to this. For the time being, I'm going to type in a string there. Name of the list, so I'll just name it as list itself, equal to new array list. So let us understand what we have done here. What we have done is, we have created a list. Okay, the name of the list is list itself. List is an interface in Java. Its concrete implementation is given by the array list class. So we are initializing it as list equal to new array list. Now the thing which is available in the angular bracket is something which is called generic here. It means to say that this list is going to contain the string objects. Is it clear? Okay, great. Okay, great. So if you remember from the previous class of polymorphism, we had said that when we are creating an instance, then instead of assigning the instance or to a specific type, we assign it to the base type. So what we have done here is, we have not assigned list to array list, we have assigned it to list interface. So list interface is implemented by an array list class. So is that clear? This is coming from the polymorphism. Assigning object to a base type. We are not assigning it to a specific type. Is that clear? Okay. Okay. So let us add some elements to this list. How do we do that? Say list dot. There's a method called add. We can use that. Now, as we said that this list is going to contain the string objects. So I'll say add some string objects to this. Okay, so we have added three string objects to this list. How we can print them out? We can use for each loop. We had discussed for each loop during our previous session also. So I'll say for here we will say string element. So it's the name of the string, which is element here, colon, followed by the name of the list. So name of the list is list itself, and then we can iterate through all these elements. So we can print them here. We can say element. So if I execute this now, it is going to print all of these three string objects which we added to the list. So let us try to run it. Yeah, so do you see that it has printed all three elements which we had added in the list. So is that clear? Yeah, so what we did, we iterated through the list using a for each loop, wherein we declared a string name element, and then we are iterating through all the list objects. So we are iterating through a string here because if you notice, our list is supposed to contain objects of type string. Okay. Okay, now this is one way. There is another way of iterating through list, which is through iterator object. Can we jump to a specific location? I think there is an API called get. You can use that. Mohit, let us see that. Let me try to bring that here. Okay. So this is the list dot. Yeah. So there is something called get. There is a method called get in the list. So you can use that to fetch any specific element. So I say I'll pass one here. Let me just comment the for loop. Yeah. So let me execute this. Yeah, so if you see here, we can use get method to get any specific object. Okay, great. So let us proceed. I was talking about iterating list using an iterator object. So iterator is a kind of object which could be used to move in a list from one position to another. So how do we do that? To do that, we need to create iterator object from the list itself. So let us try to do that. For iterator, it is again available in java.util package. We have to again specify the generic here, which is going to be a string because our list contains string objects. We have to give name to this iterator. I just give it name iterator itself, equal to, how do we get the iterator object? List has a method called iterator which we could use to get the iterator object. So let us do that, list dot iterator. Yeah. So this is how we get the iterator object. Now till how long we iterate in a list? We iterate till we have elements in the list. So how do we specify that? We say iterator dot has next. Okay, is that clear how we are creating the iterator object and how we are going to iterate through the list? What we have done is we have created the iterator object and then we say till we have next element in the list, keep moving forward. Okay, is that clear? Okay. Okay, so let us print elements using this iterator object now. So what we can do now is we can invoke next method on the iterator as iterator dot next. Okay, so if I print this, we will still get the same result. Yeah, it's the same result as we had with the for each loop. Okay, so this was about list. Okay. So let us see one more thing about how we can generate list objects on the fly. Using list.add is actually sort of time consuming. So what we can do is we can use something called arrays class. So let me just remove this part of code. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to use arrays class. Yeah, it is again in java.util package. It has a method called asList. Okay, this method takes variable argument. So I can pass all those three objects here itself. So I can say Selenium JMeter. Okay, there is one more open source tool called OpenSTA. Yeah. So this is another way of creating the list. If I execute this, we will again get the same results. Yeah. So is that clear how we can create, how we can fill up a list on the fly? Vishnath, in fact, we are increasing the size runtime. So if you see here, when we were using list.add, you can add, you can keep adding more elements. For example, consider here itself what I will do next. I will add one more element here, list.add. So let me pass here test complete. So if you see Vishmath here, I have added one more element here. So these were the elements which were given initially, and I have added one more element here. Now if I try to print here, okay, so I am printing list object itself here. I am not iterating through. There's some problem. Okay, I think I cannot do it here because I have done arrays.asList. So let me just go back to the new array list here. The old code itself, I am bringing it back. Yeah, yes, this is what happens. So we can, as and when we increase, we add the new element, the size increases. Yeah. So we added one element here, and then we are adding more elements later on. Yeah, let me try to print it now. Yeah, so if you see here, the Selenium which you see first time, it is coming from this print statement, and the next time when you see Selenium and test complete, they are coming from next statement. No problem, Vishal. We have just started with the collection framework. Okay, so this was about the list. So yeah, let us see the set now. So difference between list and set is set can contain only unique objects. It cannot have repetition. So let us create one set object now. Let us remove all of this. Okay, so the way we had created list, we will declare set. This set is going to contain a string object. I am giving it name set itself, equal to new hash set. This is very similar to list. In case of list, we had list equal to new array list. In case of set, we have set equal to new hash set. Okay, so yeah, so let us add couple of elements here. The method is the same, it is again add. So if you notice here, I have added Selenium. I will again add Selenium here. And then I'll add another element. It is about the kind of object you want to keep. I have defined a string here, so we are adding a string object. This is something called generic in Java. So if you define here, say something called integer, it can contain only integer object. For example, if I try to add integer here in set, say if I add one here, okay, you see the red line there in just below the add method. Do you see that? Yeah, so this is happening because we have said here that this set can contain only string object. Now if I had defined it to contain integer, say for example like this, I had marked it to contain integer object, then you will see this error with all other add statements wherein we are adding the string here. Okay, so here the problem is we say that set is going to contain integer, but we are adding the string. So that's the problem. So this is a kind of type safety. The kind of object you can pass in, you are declaring it while defining your set. Okay, so you can add whatever kind of object you want. There is no restriction that it should have only string. That is the whole idea. So I'll bring it back to string here, and I'll remove this last line, and I need to change this also. Exactly, we can add only one type of object. Let us iterate through this again. Let us print it. Yeah. So we are using for each loop here again. Okay, I'll add one more element, Tulsi. Set dot add. Okay, let us try to run it and see what happens. Yeah, so if you see here, we had added Selenium QTP test complete, but what we are seeing it printed is QTP Selenium test complete. So it has not printed Selenium twice. The reason being, as I said, that set cannot contain duplicate values. It can contain only unique values. But if we had list here, we could have added even duplicate values there. So that's the difference between set and the list. Followed? Exactly, the uniqueness. Okay, so this was about set. Now let us see the map. So I'll just remove this and I'll declare a map now. Oh. So in case of how map works is, let me try to write here. Map will have something called key value pair. It would have key value pair. Okay. So these are again going to be some objects. So while declaring a map, you'll have to say that what kind of object a key would be and what kind of object a value would be. About the ordering, Tulsi, if you see array list, if you see the set, we have something called tree set. So in case of tree set, it contains the ordered element. So it's not that it doesn't guarantee the order of element. If you use the tree set, it in fact guarantees the order of elements. Okay. In what situation makes us define hash table? I'm not sure of that, Vishnath, about hash table. What we are going to see here is the hash map. Okay, so yeah, I was saying that hash map contains the key value pair, and each of these, that is key and value, would be objects in themselves. So let us declare a map. Okay, so let us say here is string. Okay, I'm going to name this map as map itself. Hash map. So hash map is a class which implements the map interface. So as I said earlier, map is going to contain key value pair. Here both key and value we have marked as a string object, and given the concept of polymorphism, the object we are declaring as type map, that is the base class, and we are instantiating it with hash map. Okay, so let us try to add some values here. So let us see how we do that. So map has a class called map has a method called put, which could be used to fill a map. So we'll use put method here. So it's going to contain the key value pair. So let us give it say name. We could write whatever kind of key we want. Say we say name should be tool, and then we can say its value should be, say, rather than value, I'll say name. Its name should be, say, Selenium, and say the cost map put. Okay, so we have added three values to this map, namely the name. Okay, there's a duplicate here. Say category. Yeah, so we have category, we have name, and then we have cost. Okay, so we use the put method to keep all these values in the map. Let us try to print this, how we do that. So if you want to print these values, we can again use the for loop itself. But what we will do is we will iterate through all the keys here. Yes, Rama, you can have integer as the key. There's no that's the whole idea, as I was saying. It depends on what kind of key you want. I have taken a string here. You could as well take integer or any other type of object. Okay. Okay. So let us see printing the map now. So what we will do is we will take the values from the keys now. Now if you see here, the keys are supposed to be unique. Okay. So I have declared a string with a name key. Now what I will do is I use map to get all these keys. So map has a method called key set. Yeah, this is here. Okay, so this key set is going to get us a set of keys which are unique in themselves. Okay, as we discussed earlier, the set can contain only the unique values. Okay, and now we can print all the values which are contained by those keys. So how do we do that? We will use map again. Dot. There's a method called get which takes the key. Now key is what? Which we have declared in the for declaration. Key itself. That's all. So let us try to run it and see. Yeah. So if you see here, it has printed all those three values, right? Okay. Any question with this? With the map example? What we did was we declare a map. We put three values in the map. We iterate it through the keys in the map, and using the key, we have printed all the values of the map. How to print the key? Okay, good. I suppose there is something called entry set which could be used. Let us see. It's not on top of my head now. Let us see. We have something called. Okay, let us see what it is. Okay. Okay. Let us. So what I have done here is I have used a method called entry set, and then we are trying to print the key. So let us see if this works. Yeah, that's the one. So Dheeraj, this answers your question. There's a method called entry set using which we can print the keys here. Okay, you got that, Dheeraj? Okay. Manoj, we will see usage of map when we come to data-driven testing. So hold on for that. Okay, so this was about map. Okay, let us see an example of list now. So, okay, so do you remember from our previous session we had seen the basic cell test case class, right? Wherein we had before method and after method. In the before method we were instantiating the driver object, right? And the after method we were closing it. So let us write a test class which is going to expand it now. Okay, we have this class, we will use this. We will name it as test collection. So what we will do here is we will take Google. Now we will iterate through all the links which are available in Google homepage. How do we do that? So in the driver, we have something called find element. Okay. In the find element, we will find elements using the tag name. So let us see that here. It would be more clear. Okay. So this is the Google home page. Herein we have lots of links. Since it is on google.co.in, so you will see the India specific page. Okay. So if you see here, we have lots of links here, right? These are all anchor tags. So what we are going to do in WebDriver is we are going to collect all of these using get elements by tag name. Let us go back now. So the tag name is the anchor here. So I'll write anchor here. Okay, great. Now this is just a declaration. We are not collecting it anywhere. So let me just show you the definition of find elements. I'll just place mouse here. So if you see here, the find elements is going to return us a list. Okay, and this list is going to contain objects of type web element. So Rama, coming back to your previous question, if you see here, we are going to create a list of objects web element. Right. So this is different from what we have seen earlier. We were creating list of type string. Okay, so let us declare a list of type web elements here. Okay, so I'll name it as anchor list. Now, the web element list is going to help us in iterating through all of these list elements. So let us do that now. We'll use a for each loop. Okay. Now here we will have to iterate through a list which is going to contain all web elements. So we'll have to declare a web element here. I'll just name it as element. This is the anchor list. Okay. Let us try to print the text here. Element dot. So there's a method in a web element class called getText which returns us the inner text of the element, which comes from the WebDriver class. Let me show you the API if it is not clear. Okay. So this is the web element class. Did you create the anchor list object? Yes, Madhukar. If you see this here, what we have done is we are getting all the web elements of type anchor here. So if you see this line, we are using that statement driver.findElement. By we are using the tag name here, so it is going to get us all the elements of anchor tag. Is that clear, Madhukar? Okay. So I was coming to the API of web element. So if you see the API of web element, we have lots of methods here. So one of those methods is getText here. This is the one. Okay. Yeah. So getText is going to get us the inner text of the element. So this is something which we have used here. Yeah. So what we did here, after having gotten the anchor list, which is a list of web element, we are iterating through all the elements in this list, and then we are printing the inner text using element.getText method. So let us try to execute it. Okay. Sorry, not this. We have to execute this. So I'll run it as test-ng test, just to give a overview of how this is happening. Our test class is extending the cell test case class. In the cell test case class, we have got the before method and after method annotations. So before method is going to invoke the Firefox driver here because we have given optional parameter as Firefox, and after method is going to close it down. Okay, so let us execute it. I'll just right click and say run as test-ng test. Yeah, so browser comes up. Oh, something went wrong. Let us see what happens. Okay, I will change it to, I'll just copy it from here and paste it there. Yeah. No, Manoj, we don't have to remove add test annotation. This is something which specifies that it is a test. The problem is with the URL. So I've changed the URL, we'll execute it again. Am I audible now? Okay. So we are going to execute this test which is going to collect all the links, all the inner text. Yeah, so here comes the browser. Here comes the Google page. Yeah, so let us see the output. Yeah, so this is what is printed by, all the inner text of the link. So if you see here, we have a couple of languages coming. There is one anchor which has inner text as install Google Chrome. Then there are a couple of privacy links and all. So they must be coming from here. Yeah, we have privacy links and all. So these are again the anchor elements. Why use two test annotations? Are there two test annotations? Okay, I think you're referring to this. We can remove it. It's not a problem. So if we have at the class level test annotation, it marks all the methods as test methods. That's all. Okay, so this is the collection, but we have not done any test here. So let us try to create a test also. So what we will do is we will create a test which verifies that on the Google home page we have these languages. So let us create a new list now. Okay, so this list is going to contain string objects. We will name it languages, or we'll name it expected languages. I will use arrays class here, add list. So let me populate it. Dheeraj, I am just creating a list object with the languages which are supposed to be there on Google homepage. Okay, so this is a list of expected languages. Is that clear? Okay. Okay, let us create another list of actual languages. Okay, let me correct the spelling of Telugu. Okay, let us take it from previous output. So Hindi is right, Bengali is right, and Telugu is also right. Okay, thanks Manoj. Okay, great. So this is another list with actual languages. Okay, now we have to collect these languages runtime, that is actual languages. So what I'm going to do here is, in a for loop, we will do that. So let us collect all of this here. Dot. We will use the add method which we noticed earlier, and then we will use the element.getText. Okay. Okay. So this statement is going to populate our actual languages. Now let us do a real test. So we will assert that actual languages contains all of the expected languages. Okay, spelling of expected is wrong. Hi Satish, I think you are late if you have joined just now. Okay, so this is our assert. So what we are asserting is, we assert that all the actual languages which are there on the Google homepage contains all of the expected languages which we have declared here. Okay, so let us try to execute it. Okay, so test is over. Okay, so there is some error. So let us try to see what we have done wrong. Okay, so the problem is, I did not print the languages. I should have done that also. Yep, it should have been contains all. Okay, let us execute it. I don't think so, Madhukar. I think using contains, we should be able to compare them. Let us see. I'm wondering if I have done any spelling mistake. Hindi is right, Bengali is right, Telugu also seems right. Okay, so the problem here is the contains. So let's use the contains all. Sure. So let us, contains all should work. Let us execute this. Yeah, so browser has come. And the test is over, and if you see, the test has succeeded as well. Okay. So the problem which we were facing earlier was we were using contains. So contains is just for, if you see its definition here, contains is only for, if you want to compare any single object. But what we are doing here is we are comparing the entire link list itself. For example, I could have used contains with something like this. Okay, so say for example there's Tamil here, I'll copy Tamil and I'll paste it here. Okay, so this should work. So here is the browser. Yeah, and test is over. So if you see, the test is passed here, there's a green symbol here. Now instead of Tamil, if I write something which is not there, say for example, okay, we know for sure that QWERTY is not there on Google homepage, so this will fail. Yeah, here comes the browser. Yeah, and this has failed because QWERTY is not there. So Tulsi, same order of expected languages. Yeah, you can give, but it's really not going to make any difference here, because it is not going to look for the order. It would check whether those elements are there or not. So I could have, instead of, I could have done this. I could have got Bengali first and Hindi here. It should still work. So I'll change it to contains all. And if I run it, that's what Tulsi I was referring to. The order doesn't matter. It is the actual element which is there. Yeah, if you see here, this has again succeeded. So see here, I have changed the order, but it has again succeeded. In fact, if you see, we were not following order at all. The order in which it prints is something else. So see, it is plus use search images and other things, and a screen reader, right? So order doesn't matter here. It is the actual element which matters. Followed? Okay. Okay, so let us see what we would discuss next. Okay, so we have to see the page objects today as well. So page object is something which is a kind of design pattern which has certain advantages over writing, all your all your statements in test method itself. So page object does a couple of things. For example, it hides your implementation detail. Okay, so test does only testing. Page object does the operations which are performed on the page. The second biggest advantage is it helps us in implementing something called responsibility, or if I could say, single responsibility principle. Okay, so it means to say that each class should be responsible for doing one thing. Test should not be responsible to carry out operations on page. That should be done by the page object. Third thing is, test should test, which is assertions should be in test. That's all. Ashit, I'll try to do that. These are not major examples, but I'll try to do that. Sure, Rama, I was explaining the usage of page object. So the first concept is we need to hide the implementation details from the test itself. Okay, so test should not carry out operations on a page. For example, typing in a text box or selecting a radio button. They should be done by page object classes. Another thing is, it helps us in implementing single responsibility principle. That means to say that page object should carry out page related operations and the test method should carry out the test. Third thing is assertion should be there in the test method. Assertion should not be part of your page object. Okay. There are a couple of questions. Let me just see. Page object contains only one value. Manoj, what do you mean by that? Page object contains only one value. I'm not sure what you are referring to, so if you could explain, I could try to answer, otherwise I'll proceed with the next thing. Yes, sir. Okay. Okay, so we have 3 languages. Okay. Okay. Okay, let us try to take, but we verify that only Hindi is present. Okay, Manoj, let us take this question after this session. I'm not quite sure and I don't want to make everyone wait now. Okay, so the site which we are going to use here is a demo site. You may have seen this site with QTP experiments. So we will use the same site here. So let us just write a quick test here. So let us name it test page object itself. Okay. Let us remove all of this. Okay, so this is a dummy site for registration. If you see here, there is no validation as such. If you say submit, you will not get any error per se. Yeah, because it's a dummy site, but we will fill up the form to see the page object concept. So let us see these elements quickly. Okay, so the first name. So first name has a name, so we will use that. We will fill in that value here. Find element by name dot send keys. So well, we will name it a test user. Okay, and then we have something called last name. So let us see that as well. Last name is last name. We can in fact copy this whole thing. Yeah, so here comes our last name. So we will name it as user last name. Okay, let us see the next element. Phone number. So this is the phone number, which is just the phone. We can again copy these elements. And we will fill in the username, the email address. We will not fill all the fields. Okay, so the phone number was wrong. Let me just correct the phone number value. Okay, and the username, we will give it, say, Selenium user. Satish, I can share the material, what I am describing right now. More than this, I don't have much. But I would say that there is sufficient material on Selenium headquarters site itself. Okay, so we have filled in first name, last name, phone and email address. Let us, this was username. let us just see the email address once again. Okay, email address is username and username is email. Great. Okay, so let us fill these last three fields as well. So this is the email address and we have to fill the password now. Okay, so password has name password. Okay, and the last field is the confirm password. We are not filling in address and all. We are filling only few fields. Yeah, so let us see the confirm password now. That's all, and then we will click on the submit button. So this is the submit button. Yeah, so its name is register. Let's take that and click on it. Yes, Ayya? Okay, let's take that question after session Ayya. Okay, so this is, we are filling the form here and then we are clicking on the register button. So with register we have to use click, not send key, so I'll change that. Okay, so let us try to run it and see if this works. If this works, then we will proceed with page object, else we will have to debug it. So let us just quickly run it. Okay, here comes the browser. Okay, this works. So let us keep an assertion here. So if you notice, there was no error. Yeah, everything has succeeded. So let us keep one assertion now. Assert. So we will assert that after submit. Yeah, we will assert this text after submit. Okay, so let us do that. Hardeep, I'll come to your question in a while. Not this. By tag name body, so we should have that text in the body. Get text method dot contains the text. Okay, let me try to split it. Yeah, and here comes our semicolon. Okay, country drop down placed there. Can Hardeep, is your question about can we select the value in country drop down? Yes, we can do that. Is that your question? Okay, sure, we can do that. Let me make this selection as well. We will select value from country drop down also. Let me do that. Okay, so let us see what is this locator. So we can use name country here. Let us take that. Okay, and we will select it here. So how do we select value of country is, there is a class called select in the Selenium in the WebDriver which we can use here. So we will create an object of select. Yeah, so it asks the web element here. So we will say driver dot find element by dot name. So the name is country here. Okay. Now we will select the value. How? We will say dot select by visible text. Yeah, so there's a method called select by visible text. Now let us see which value we can pick up. Let us just see the options available here. Yeah, so what we will select is Angola. Let us pick up Angola. Okay, okay, so this is what we are doing. So if you see, Hardeep, what we are doing here is we are creating object of type select, which takes a web element. So we are passing that by finding the element using the name, which is country here, and then we are selecting by visible text. Rama, what is your question? Do we need to create a new object for selecting an element in the drop down? Yes. Yes, so the reason being, if you see the select object, how it is instantiated, it needs to know the web element. Given that, you will have to create a new object. Okay? Okay, so this is a simple test. There is no page object at this point. So let us try to run it and see if this works. Here comes the browser. Okay, something went wrong. Okay, it complained that Angola is not there. Let me just see if I have done something wrong. Maybe the space, but I gave that deliberately because I found space here. I'll try to remove space and see. Yeah, since there was space here, so I gave that. Okay, let me try to remove space. I'll remove this space. Let us execute it once again. If it doesn't work, I'll take the option value. Okay, I removed this space. I'm executing it again. Here comes the browser. Okay, great. It was space indeed. Thanks, Aruna. Yeah, so everything worked here. So this is our simple test. Now we are going to see how we can do it with page object. So the problem with this test is everything is there in the test. If you see this, it is cluttered with driver.findElement, new select, and then assertion at last. So let us create a page object now. So I'm going to create a new package here. Yes, Balaji, I'll share a session, don't worry. So this is the page object. So we will create a new class here. The class, we will name it as registration. Okay. Okay. Let us give our test also a good name. We will name it as test registration. Okay. Okay, now we are going to migrate all of this code to the registration class. Okay. Now before that, what we need to do is we have to set up the driver object here. So let us do that. Private, not the driver object, the element, web element object. So let us declare that. Okay. So we'll create a constructor for registration class. If you remember from the previous session, what we had done in the previous session was, what is this error? Not this, I'm sorry, it should be driver. Yeah. Yeah. So we need to instantiate it also using a constructor. So if you remember from the previous class, we had discussed that constructor is something which could be used to initialize the members in a class. So let us declare a constructor. Yeah, so this is a constructor. So this constructor is going to take argument of type driver. Okay. And then we can initialize our driver. Okay, I have used this here to distinguish that which driver is being used where. So this is a driver using which we are initializing this driver. Okay, is that clear? Is it? Okay. So let's write a method called register new user, public Okay. Okay. Now what I am going to do is I am going to replace all of this code to our new method. So I have removed it from here. I have pasted it here. Okay. Okay, great. Okay, now we need to use this class in our WebDriver test. So what do we do here? We will create an object of registration class. Registration, yeah, this is the one, equal to new registration, and it takes the driver object. Okay. Okay, and then registration dot register new user. It should be in small letters. The method name should begin with a small letter. So let me change that. Get method. Where is the get method? Where is the get method here? There is no get method in the page object. This one. Okay, yeah, sure. In fact, we should remove it from here. We will keep it in test class. Yeah, we'll keep it here. Let me just save this, and let me just change this. Okay. So what we have done here is we have removed the registration code from the test class, and we have kept it in the registration class. Okay. So whenever we have to register a new user, we can use it. Okay. With the previous implementation, we wouldn't have been able to do this. Okay. Yeah. So coming to the test class. Vasant, the assertion method does the job of assertion. It verifies that what you are checking is going to succeed or not. So what we are doing in assertion here is we are checking whether registration succeeds or not. So one of the fundamental of page object or page object pattern is the assertion should be part of test. So we have kept test here. We have kept assertion in test. Okay. Okay, so let us try to execute this. It's the same thing. There's not much difference. We will still get the same result. It's only that our test is more clear now. That's all. Test again succeeded. Let us see the results here. Yeah, test has again succeeded. This is a small method. This is a small test. It makes it look far succinct and clear now. Anyone can use the new registration method from here whenever needed. Now there is one more thing here. We could still make it more clear by wrapping up these methods, but we'll see that in next session. Okay. Okay. Let us take questions now. Yeah. So first question is from Mohit. Yeah. Let me just come to the training part. Do we need to use try catch? No, Mohit. Here we don't need to use try catch. How many assertions we can generally have? Rashmi, there is no limitation as such, but try to do one thing, that try to test one scenario in one method. Don't try to do multiple assertions which are related to different scenarios. For example, here in this marker towards registration. After registration, you could also check. You could check that sign-in link is displayed because it would be part of the same test. But don't try to check that cruiser link is also there. Cruises link is also there because it should be a different test. Okay. Yeah, that's true for manual testing. Let me try to make one more point here, that with the page objects, we should also create a new page object when we come to a new page. So if you see the previous operation, what we were doing here, it directs us to consider this as a account success page or account creation page. So what we should have done here is, in the registration class, at the end we should have returned a page object. So we should have done return new account success page or account creation page. Hang on guys for a while, I'm trying to explain one more point of page object. Okay, and this account creation page is something which we should return from here. Now since this class is not there right now, so we will have to create it. Yeah. Okay, so this is the account creation page class. So what we have done here is, since our registration operation returns a new page, we should create a new page object here. Okay. And the same way we will have driver object here. So it takes the driver argument and then we assign it here. Yeah, that's all. That's all. So this is a new page object. Yeah, so that's all. There's not much change in test per se, but if your page operation is returning a new page, then we should return object of that page type. Okay, so let's go back to questions now. Yeah, can we create a new global driver object? Here I didn't get your question. What do you mean by global driver object? It is in fact a global driver object. So if you see here, we are just passing the same driver object. If I come to the test class, which is the WebDriver test, where is the driver object coming from? It is coming from the cell test case class. If you see here, this is the driver object. This is the driver object which is instantiated here because we are using the WebDriver. Now this is the same driver object which we are passing from test class to the registration page object. This is the same driver object. Now this is the same driver object which we are passing from the registration class to the account creation page. So this in fact is a global driver object. Though I think we don't use words like global in an object-oriented programming. Okay. Next question, how can we use OR operator? OR operator. Okay. Manoj, I think you're coming back to the question which you were asking earlier. In contains. So you can do this. Okay, you can do something like this. Let me quickly create a main method here. Okay, so we will create a list. We will just fill it up with couple of values. Yeah, let me just take up Manoj question and then we'll move to next question. Okay, so Manoj, this is a very simple list. Now if you want to do contains with respect to OR, you can do something like this. Okay, and then you can see list dot contains this. Okay, and if you want to do OR, you can do OR here itself. List dot contains B. So if I print it now, if I execute it now, it should give us true. Yeah, it gives us true. Manoj, does that answer your question? see the question one by one. Yes, for every new page, Sayali, we should return a new page object class. Vishal is asking if we have two drop-downs in which one value affects the other value. Vishal, if you can select the one value from one drop-down and another value from another drop-down. So if the question is that selection of one value is affecting values in the second drop-down, then you could use something called wait for elements. So we would see that in next session how we could dynamically wait for elements. Okay. Assert contain. Okay. Okay. Rashmi, I'm not sure of your question. I'm not sure. I don't think you can encrypt password here, but I'm not sure if there is any way to do that. Okay. Any other question? I don't think so, Manoj. You can do that contains and then object and then or operator, because if you see the syntax of contain here, if you see the definition of contain here, I have just brought it up. It is, you can only pass an object here. You cannot do or another operation. If you see this line which I am trying to highlight here, it can only be passed an object. Okay, you cannot do object or some object or some object. You see the parameter type here. It is an object. Yeah, it indeed returns the boolean. Okay, let's see the Vishal's question. I don't think so, Vishal, there's any way, because HTTPS itself makes your application slow because it does the encrypting. So I'm not sure if there's any way to increase the performance there. Sure, Madhukar. Let's take the Madhukar's question. So Madhukar, what I was pointing there as the fourth pointer of page object, that is, we should create a new page object class whenever we are going from one page object class to another. For example, if you see our registration class, once the registration is over, we are going to the account creation page, right? So this is something which is displayed here. Yeah, this is the Mercury Tour class, Mercury Tour page. So after registration, we are seeing something called account success page. So what we had done in our class is, in the registration class, we were returning the account creation page object towards the end of the operation. Okay, so this is here. Yeah. So here we are returning an object of type account creation page. So this is the account creation page. Yeah, it doesn't contain any code as such, but it's just a page which is a placeholder for page objects operations which could be done by the account creation page. Is that clear, Vishal? Okay, Sayali's question, can we give to any element two values for test? Like, Sayali, I did not get your question. Do you want to check whether we can check what is already there in the text box? Do you want to do that? If that's the case, if you want to do that, you can use get text method if it is part of inner text. If not, then you can, if it is a value attribute, you can get the value attribute and perform the check. Manoj, Manoj, it depends what you want to check. If you want to check some text, you could as well do driver dot get page source dot contains, and in the quotation you can write the text you want to check. Yes, Madhukar, exactly, because you may have some other operations to be carried out on the next page. So we usually return a new page object. No, Rashmi, there is no Selenium RC recording. It's all about Selenium 2. Okay. Okay. Is there any other Selenium based question? Or I'll wind up now. You could post me the Java question on my personal email address. You guys all have that. There's nothing called loading environment file. I think that largely comes from, I think QTP you have loading environment file. There's nothing called loading environment file here, Vishwanath. Yes, Senki is the only option. Another option is to use JavaScript execution. We'll see it in coming session. Next session, I'll let you guys know. I have not decided yet. Sure, Vishal, I'll do that. Sure. Okay, guys, we are already past 10 minutes, 10 o'clock. So let's wind up now.